Listen, you're not gonna find anything on me, okay? Trust me.
Empty your pockets into the tray, sir, or we'll have to. Your pockets, sir?
Lady, the problem isn't in my pants.
Welcome back to Thick and Critical. This is Wes. It's time for that show where we talk about all things X-Men. We've got a little preview for, Trial of Magneto. We got some preview images, or at least some teaser like house ads for Inferno. And we've got the second issue of Jerry Duggan's X-Men. Obviously here with me to talk about that is the X-Men aficionado, the Marvel historian, Doc, just back from Houston.
Yeah, just back into town on like 4 or 5 hours of sleep. And ready to talk some comics. I barely had time to read anything this week, but it was, I'm here.
All right. Well, as long as you read X-Men #2, we're good.
I did.
Perfect. So before we get to there, we'll talk about Trial of Magneto. This is coming up from Leah Williams and Luke Wernick. That's who the artist is. And it's kind of interesting, the little introductory paragraph that they had. It says, while the Trial of Magneto is outwardly investigating one mystery, it's also hovering around another that crisscrosses the Marvel U, that complicated parentage of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. At different times, they have been mutants, superhumans, and even experiments gone wrong. But most famously, they've been the children of Magneto. All that was thrown into disarray when in 2014's Axis event, the High Evolutionary revealed that the twins were in fact the children of Anna and Mateo Maximoff, and they weren't humans or mutants, but rather cast-off experiments of the mad scientist.
Yeah.
I know that you have a problem with this. Are you excited they're going to tackle it? Maybe fix it.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I think that the last person on the planet qualified to do that is Leah Williams, and I think making it into some big complicated thing is a waste of time and kind of just unnecessary. I mean, but then again, this is comics. Most of it is unnecessary. But no, I think that this is, I think it's good that they're finally addressing this. Look, they did that change to make Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver not Magneto's kids as a purely spite move because of the Fox ownership of the film.
Doc, are you telling me that Marvel Comics made a short-term decision with no thinking about the long-term ramifications of what would happen to these characters?
Well, as a matter of fact, sir, yes, they did. I mean,
shocking.
This is so, I know, it is so un-Marvel-like to make rash, knee-jerk, spiteful, and short-term, decisions without any consideration for the long-term practical repercussions of it. That's totally un-Marvel-like. Definitely not anything
we're
that
not dealing still with the fallout of One More Day with Spider-Man, the flagship character that they screwed up once.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
let's not talk about when we got, who was it? Norman Osborn banging Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, I mean, none of these things are, ever done without lots and lots
Captain America is a Hydra agent. Hail Hydra.
Yeah. And
we got to do a video on Marvel, just like their list of sins.
Yeah. And, hey, Iron Man's dead, and then he's brought back as a clone, and now he's leading an AI revolution. None of those things. Definitely no short-term thinking there. All well thought out with all they're a goddamn chess master thinking 37 moves ahead.
40 chess, Doc. It's called 40 chess.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Doc. So this is what Leah Williams said. You said she's not qualified to write this. Let's hear what her words have to say. Let's see if she understands Magneto. This is her quote. When has Magneto ever allowed bureaucracy to get between himself and what's just? In the island paradise of Krakoa, safe haven and home for mutants, Magneto's hard-fought, greatest desire of seeing his people at peace and thriving has finally been achieved, but Magneto's loyalty extends only as far as it is first earned. So after the Hellfire Gala, when he learns that even a paradise could still be filled with lies, the trial of Magneto begins.
Magneto isn't a naive child. Does he really? I mean, look, anyone that thinks that everything going on in Krakoa is on the up and up at this point is fucking delusional. And
he's always with Charles when they're talking too.
Yeah, they know all the shady
He's
shit.
in on it. Like, what is this?
Yeah, he knows all of the shady shit going on. He's doing a lot of the shady shit between him and Sinister. He's aware. He's the one that kind of agreed with Moira and Xavier not to resurrect any goddamn precogs. What?
Yeah. And when has Magneto always been on the side of what's just? That's not who that character is.
No, it's not. He is rash and temperamental, and that's been one of his fatal flaws. Like he makes decisions without any follow through. Maybe this is explaining it because they think that Magneto is just and thoughtful. It explains why they, when in reality he's an impulsive ass sometimes. That definitely is unable
to murder Charles Xavier's X-Men for like decades.
Yeah, since like 1963. He's tried to kill the world a couple of times. He tried to
just cause.
Yeah, he tried to invert the poles on the Earth to cause just global devastation. To the point,
technically, Doc, that happened naturally. Not even everyone even noticed.
Yeah, I know, but he wanted to do it so rapidly that it would cause earthquakes and shit, and held the world hostage until he got handed the nation of Genosha.
Just cause, Doc.
Yeah, no, it's not. That
I don't think Leah Williams has a firm handle on who Magneto is in the X-Men universe or the 616 at large.
I don't think she has a firm hand on a lot of things, including what concepts of justice and pretty much everything else. In fact, I would hazard to say she doesn't have a grasp on anything at all that has to do with X-Men characters or their motivations.
Guaranteed to be a shit show, Doc. Let's move into the other big event that's coming out next week. This one, I think we're both a little bit more excited for. This is going to be Inferno. There's some house ads that came out in Marvel this week. The first one is this ad where we got Mystique, Moira, and we got Destiny, and we have the quote from Destiny when she was speaking. Mystique was speaking to her through that fire. There will be an island, not the first, but the last. This place will seem to be hope for our kind. They will invite you in, lift you up, and then deny you the one thing you want. When those days come, remember these words, bring me back. And if you cannot, if they will not, then burn that place to the ground.
I mean, look, I'm already on Team Mystique in this. So it's not like they're selling me any harder on it. But yeah, this is like this, and this is one of the problems I have kind of with Hickman X-Men, is that apparently they're going full like Battlestar Galactica. All of this has happened before. All of it will happen again when it comes to the X-Men on Krakoa, where this is the first time it's ever happened. I mean, unless they're talking about islands. Because, the X-Men do have a history of ending up on islands. There was, and mutant kind in general. There was Genosha. There was Cable's Providence. There was the Utopia Island in San Francisco. You could say Asteroid M. I mean, it's kind of an island. It's a space island. So the X-Men do have a history with when it comes to being on islands. So, but I don't, it feels like this whole Hickman era, one thing I dislike about it is them trying to kind of shoehorn this idea that, well, this has happened before, except for we never saw it in the past. And I don't
never
really
saw it
like
come
that.
to completion. She's had 9 lives.
Yeah, I know, but we never saw it. Like the readers never saw it because they've never been on fucking Krakoa before. Well, except for when they literally killed Krakoa and threw him into space. But you know, they've never lived on Krakoa. They've never settled Krakoa in printed comics up until this point. But they're still trying to convince us that it has happened. Now I do definitely agree with, you know, Mystique and Destiny. I mean, they're not selling me any harder on it. I'm definitely already on board.
Here's
Burn
this
it fucking
promo
down.
piece. Says Xavier, Emma Frost, Magneto, our leaders can't be trusted. No shit, Sherlock. I've known this for a year and a half, 2 years.
This is about as surprising as, you know, getting snowed on in Alaska. No shit. Not only the fact that it's Magneto on one side, it's Emma,
Charles
who is
living out Magneto's dream.
Yeah, at best, Emma is very, let's just say, her moral compass kind of spins aimlessly. And not only, I mean, okay, yes, this is Magneto's dream with Xavier running it. But the fact that ever since issue 1, Xavier looks like a fucking villain. I mean, come on. He's wearing this helmet that you can't see his face all of the time. And we're supposed to believe, you know, he's not like this harmless old man in a floating wheelchair and a suit.
Trying to help the kids out.
Trying to help kids anymore. He's wearing an all black skin suit with a metal helmet that you can't see his face in, and that reads everyone's mind constantly and records it. That's a little fucking shady. So no shit. This one, though,
here's the last one. Colossus, Psylocke, Bishop, our allies can't be trusted.
This is the only one here that I'm a little surprised by. First of all, though, I will start off with, I hate how effeminate they've made Bishop look in so much of this. Bishop doesn't look right in red. I'll just say that.
That's orange, right?
No, I think it's red because he's the red Bishop.
Well, I'm talking about his the coat. Looks orange to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe
it's in between.
It's the same color as the red on Colossus.
Well, Colossus is a little bit more red, but that's neither here nor there, Doc. Let's not get stuck in the minutia of bullshit. Let's talk about real stuff.
This one does look a little surprising to me, because them trying to put the, you know, kind of cause a rift between the mutants and each other. I don't see where they've gotten to the point where they can't be trusted. I guess, and you know what, though?
You can't trust Psylocke because Mr. Sinister is essentially running her life.
Yeah, you know what? You are right. You can't trust Psylocke because of Sinister. You can't trust Bishop because of Emma's influence. And you can't trust Colossus because he's Russian.
Well, it might be Beast. Is Beast doing something with him still?
They've done some weird shit. I'm still.
It's been so long. It felt like he was a key character, and they haven't talked about him in 6 months or something.
Well, he's been, on the cover of X-Force since #1, and he's yet to join X-Force. So I'm still confused. I feel like
it's his brother, right? He has the sword.
Maybe it's the thing because of Mikhail. I don't know.
Yes, he's got the whatever sword.
The Cerebro sword.
Cerebro sword.
Yeah. Which is just redesigned metal. I mean, it's just reworked metal. It doesn't actually have a hard drive anymore. It doesn't work. So good.
Well, you don't know that, Doc. There'd be more to it. So that's what we got coming up. I'm still intrigued by Inferno. I think that's definitely, if you're going to be excited for one of the events, it's that one over Trial of Magneto.
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, look at who's writing each of them. You got Jonathan Hickman on one hand, and then you have Leah Williams. Come on.
All right, well, let's get into X-Men number 2 before we wrap this bad boy up. We got Jerry Duggan. The second issue, we still have Pepe Larraz on art. We know he's going to be off on issue number 4. Marte Gracia still is the colorist. It opens up with a completely superfluous, stupid joke scene between Gambit playing cards and his wife being mad at him within the treehouse. And it gets marginally better by then. I think the story itself kind of sucks until the very last few pages.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. I mean, this feels like just typical Jerry Duggan need to make the whammon all strong to embarrass the man and, the ineffectual laughingstock husband. I mean, look, come on, fuck it. The Simpsons have been doing it for like 30 goddamn years. Knock it off. It's boring at this point. And then, they did show some of the stuff on Games World, and that's interesting, but I'm not sure it didn't really push the plot forward with that. But I will say, in a lot of ways, it was useful as kind of a reminder. Like, hey, this is still going on. I mean, which is a big. Well, okay, go ahead.
Focus mostly on Sync, or was it Darwin?
Think that it's Sync. Sync's on this team. Darwin is not.
Yeah, it focused mostly on Sync using other people's powers and whatnot. Whatever. I don't think that's interesting. Why even have Sync on the team if he's just going to be replicating everyone else's powers? Whatever.
Well.
But then we also got the spotlight on Sunfire, and I think Jerry Duggan got the character wrong there.
I feel like Jerry Duggan and everyone in the office from minute one has had everything wrong when it comes to Sunfire, primarily because Sunfire would never be there.
Well, they're saying that he lost faith and didn't want to fight for his nation anymore. You forgot to show that happening.
Yeah, it never
I don't think that ever did happen.
No, it didn't happen. I mean, they're just, he's just
willing
them.
It into existence, Doc, with a flashback.
Yes, he's making it into a thing just to,
and it's completely out of nowhere.
It is.
Once they've defeated the big bugs and the farmer. Did you notice who the farmer from Kansas was?
It looks exactly like Jerry Duggan.
It's Jerry Duggan. And he just goes, well, you would have always thanked me. And then he just starts thinking about like his life. Like, oh, this is not a seamless transition. And this is not Sunfire.
It really isn't. I don't get it. If they're gonna make these kind of changes to Sunfire, they can't just do them arbitrarily and then retcon an explanation. Yeah. Build it and make it actually matter. Otherwise, you're just showing your lack of talent as a writer. You got to build to it, make it happen in real time. Otherwise, you took the fucking lazy way out, like you always do, and you always have for your entire career, Jerry Duggan. You took the lazy narrative way out.
I agree with you on that, but you did. It sounded like you had something else to say about Sync.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, I've had an issue with having Sync on the team as long as Rogue is on it for a long time because they're essentially the same power.
Except she's way more powerful.
Yeah, she's much, much more powerful, and the fact is, she also has the ability, like. okay, you could argue, well, Sync only has to be in proximity to other mutants
Without
to copy
touching.
their power. Yeah, but so can Rogue. She's found a way to do it, and she can do it for longer periods of time. She doesn't actually need to stay close to them, and she can do multiple powers at once. So I feel like Sync is superfluous here.
And just like the opening scene, that represented Sync on the team. This has no point of being here other than, well, there's no other. There's just nothing for this to do in the story. We got to talk about this last part because this is the only part of the story I found interesting. We got introduced to 3 villains last time. We see 2 of them this week. We do see Cordyceps Jones on Game World. Needs some more fleshing out. But we also revisit Dr. Stasis on the very last few pages. He seems to be some type of serial killer, Doc. Like, this is really, really, really moody, really creepy. A job well done by Jerry Duggan and Pepe Larraz, because he seems, I wouldn't want to mess with. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Now, I'm, this is an interesting start here. Like, I'm curious what's going on. Now, the one thing I do want to know is who these people were, because looking at that helmet that was sitting on the table,
it has the star. It was black and red.
Yeah, but I don't think that was a star. It looks like, well, actually, maybe it is. But it looked like the mask that Major X wore, the Rob Liefeld character. And I would not put it past anybody in this office to unceremoniously kill one of Rob's creations.
It was a woman and her child. Major X was a grown adult.
Yeah, but the adult, there was a man there too.
What?
Oh, wait, yeah, you are right. Sorry, my mistake.
The only other person is his servant, which is apparently a walking cat.
Yeah.
Island of Dr. Moreau shit going on.
Yeah, there is some Island of Dr. Moreau shit going on. And, hey, but he's a geneticist that he was talking about, building hybrids. So I'm betting that Sinister is going to get involved at some point here.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. The mom made a cream sauce, which she didn't like, so it meant her and the child had to die.
Yeah,
because they weren't perfect yet or something. I got to make a new model that knows not to make me like cream sauce with my dinner.
Yeah, well, I'm actually not certain. Well, actually, yeah, they are.
I think he's killing them off until he makes the perfect version.
Yeah, and he's programming them in the womb or in whatever test tube they're being grown in. And that is interesting because we've all said for a long time now, it feels like the X-Men and all of the mutants that are getting brought back are being reprogrammed unbeknownst to them. And it explains why everybody's so far out of character. Now, whether or not they're doing like kind of a parallel here with an evil supervillain. Yeah, yes. An evil supervillain doing it with bad intentions versus Xavier doing it with good intentions because he's
going to take what the mutants are doing on Krakoa and he's going to
justify it.
Start making chimeras.
Yeah. So, I mean,
the Clone Wars have begun.
This issue for the most part was meant just to further some of the subplots, and honestly, because the fight itself, the thing that the X-Men were actually involved in is irrelevant. It was
interesting. The only thing that came out of it was apparently if you have Jean Grey and you have Polaris together, they can MRI your like memories. Really stupid, in my opinion. And so they know who Cordyceps Jones is in Game World. That's it.
I feel like the only function of this issue was to get Jerry Duggan actually put into a comic book. I feel like that this was an entirely egocentric.
It wasn't the worst thing ever. I'll give it like 3.5 stars.
Yeah, I only
not
give
awful.
it
The
2.
art's good. The last few pages are excellent.
I give it 2 stars because the art is really good and the subplot stuff is interesting, and they actually used subplots, instead of just mentioning something and then forgetting about it for 10 issues and then, coming back to it and stuff happened while you were gone.
I gave because Children of the Atom #1 a 2-star. I can't give this 2 stars.
Well, I think I only gave Children of the Atom 1 star. So I will give this 2 stars.
So I liked it a little bit more than you, but I was lackluster effort in comparison to what happened with X-Men #1, in my opinion.
I will agree there. Yes.
All right, Doc. Well, I do say thank you very much. We've got the Trial of Magneto coming up. We'll definitely be talking about that, and we'll be here right next week. We didn't review Hellions because we didn't have time, but Doc liked it. How's that?
I did. But then again, I like every issue of Hellions.
A few minutes later.
Welcome back to Thinking. Sounds like I've got a dick in my mouth.